A year ago, our center had the privilege of hosting a side event in Vienna at the annual meeting of the UNODC. We co-hosted this with the country of Morocco and also the terrorism prevention branch of the UNODC. In the course of doing so, we became aware of how limited the UN's mandate is with respect to actually preventing terrorism. And out of that process emerged a thought that perhaps that mandate could be expanded if there was a structural relationship developed between the UNODC and selected NGOs. To my way of thinking, it makes a great deal of sense. And let me explain by telling a little bit about what our NGO does. We're the International Center for Religion and Diplomacy, and our mission is to bridge religious considerations with the practice of international politics in support of peacemaking. In other words, we address identity-based conflicts that typically exceed the grasp of traditional diplomacy. And by that I mean ethnic disputes, tribal warfare, religious hostilities, and we do this by making religion a part of the solution. Out of this effort to get at the ideas behind the guns, you find that strategically, what we were doing with the madrasas, what we're doing with Saudi Arabia, is every bit as strategic as anything else that might be taking place on or off the battlefield. And if you truly want to drain the swamp of extremism, you don't do it with the guns and the bullets, because those just beget the cycle of revenge in a very big way. But if you can win hearts and minds, that becomes contagious, and that's how you get there from here. In conclusion, I would urge people to give serious consideration to this idea of a structural relationship. I think out of that could come a synergy for coping with terrorism that would not otherwise exist. For the UN, they would have the increased ability to deal with sensitive religious issues like the kind I've been talking about, and also to gain access to cultural and religious spaces that would otherwise be very difficult for the UN to come by. For our part, for the NGO's part, access to the leadership in the member states of the UNODC would be invaluable in terms of influencing policy in a more helpful direction.